Pine Labs went public at a valuation nearly 40% below its last private round, and just weeks later reported its second profitable quarter and straight one at that. The Q1 FY27 revenue grew 20% year on year, and the PAT came in near 20 crores. And the company says nearly 89% of all new code being written is now AI generated, from a point of sale hardware business in Noida to a listed fintech platform spanning India, Southeast Asia, and the Middle East. Let's welcome on board Amrish Rau. He has clearly steered this journey since 2020, the MD and CEO at Pine Labs. Amrish, welcome to the interview. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you. Good to meet.
So, Amrish, if I could start off, let's not look back, let's look ahead. 5 years from now, what would Pine Labs look like? Is it still going to be primarily a payments company, or would it have become a larger fintech company?
See, I think you got to see what's evolving when it comes to fintech and financial services technology. Consumer requirements are changing. Consumer want to move money almost like WhatsApp messages. Banks and financial institutions want to receive money a lot earlier. Another factor around trust is becoming super important. The reason why there is a delay in a transaction between me to my bank is because of trust. There is a trust element which is required. Because of real-time payments infrastructure, stablecoins in the global markets, now money is moving extremely quick. That is opening up many new opportunities. Let me give you one example which is out there. As we move into this whole AI-based agentic world, what's going to happen is agents are going to run payment transactions for you and I, or even for businesses. Number of transactions will explode in the next 5 years. We think we have built a tech architecture which solves for all of these things. Now, because of our infrastructure, we think we can solve for large volumes of transactions, and that's the opportunity that we want to capture.
That's quite scary as well, right? Because trust becomes such a big factor there when you know AI is doing it all.
I'm going to make it more complex, right? Yeah. So today, between two consumers, cash was the surety that money has reached to each other.
The tangible asset.
The tangible asset money is going to reach between two persons. Where the world is headed is, what people are saying is, my money should become programmable. Effectively, and I'll give you an example of what's already happened in India. What the Indian government is saying is, I will give out direct benefit transfers, which will be used only for healthcare, or can be used only for food. Effectively, what you're saying is, my benefit transfer will get contained to that use case, i.e., my money is programmed to be used only in this area. That's the next evolution in the next 5 years will happen when it comes to digital payments. Money will become programmable. It'll just open up many new opportunities which we haven't seen till date.
So you've always spoken about, building the first agentic stack when it comes to next generation of the global economy. Tell me in practicality, what would it mean in extension to what you just spoke about?
See, consumers are going to always look for the most convenient things. So for example, I have never met an individual who says, I enjoy doing airline ticket booking. What you want to do is you want to let your agent do all the hard work for you. You want to give the agent a certain rules and guardrails under which the agent operates for you. And then payment system should operate in that area. But that's something which you and I understand very easily. But let me connect it back to what you guys talk about all day. In the commodity market, I could very well have an order out there which says that if gold goes to a certain price, only then my transaction should get executed. I need not be doing a refresh all through the day. My agent will take over that activity. But even businesses have such use cases which are operating in today. All of those will become AI first. All of them will become agentic first.
And where do you step into making this infrastructure done?
Very interesting question. So there are two parts to it, right? One part to it is creating the guardrails for the agents. That's something that we are doing. We've actually published an open source platform out there. But the second piece to it is, how do you have communication between two agents where payment transactions can get completed? We actually demonstrated something which can happen on UPI. We did a live UPI transaction between two agents, no humans involved into it. We are now going to be able to demonstrate it on cards too.
So, I want to talk about where things stand when it comes to the global payment giants. And, we're talking about Stripe, Adyen, there's so many others. They're all expanding into emerging markets. How do you compete against these giants? Because they all want a pool of India.
Actually, that's again an interesting topic to have there. My view is slightly different. And my view is when you look at the Stripes and the Adyen's of the world, they are seeing US as the very big opportunity. A, because the US economy and movement of money is still continuing to flourish out there. But then the second piece, which is important, is US still
The
has
size that we have.
the second piece is that the fintech infrastructure is still not fixed as far as US is concerned. On the other hand, where you have emerging markets of, may that be on Southeast Asia or Africa, they actually find it a very small market for them. India is a humongous market, but Indian fintech infrastructure is ahead of many, many countries around the world. So they're actually taking a position which says, let us focus more on the US market. And that's where we are seeing the opportunity. When you go into Southeast Asia, go into Africa, Middle East, there are banks, there are regulators, there are fintechs who are looking for good technology partners. And that's a gap that we want to fill in.
So you don't think that 10 years hence, some of these global giants would be headquartered here in India and they would be the ones sort of cherishing out of the max out of the Indian pie? You don't see that threat. Is that what you're saying?
I don't see that yet. And if you look at it, a PayPal hasn't really entered the India market completely, neither has Stripe been able to enter the market completely. I think there's a mix of two, right? One is the regulatory environment which is required. Second is where is the maturity of the fintech infrastructure there locally, and then is the opportunity pool. When you put all of these three together, I think the local payment companies are better placed than the international giants.
You also started out selling POS hardware. Now we're talking everything from tangible to intangible.
Yeah.
Does that brand itself then, become obsolete or disappear?
Actually, that's something that we've been thinking about very hard, right? So our brand is so associated with the POS machine.
Yeah.
Even my mom feels that I do nothing else but just POS machines. So it takes a while to explain to the market that only 27% of my revenues today comes out of the POS business. Almost about 75% of my revenues is coming from things which have got nothing to do with the POS machines. May that be in terms of online payment transactions, some of the flow-based transactions which run our platform. I don't know if you have ever used the Amazon gift card or the Flipkart gift card. 100% processed by Pine Labs. We are at the back-end technology providers solving for that problem. We move almost 5 million transactions on the prepaid card side on a daily basis.
Wow, fascinating. So you've expanded into Southeast Asia, Middle East as well as your core growth markets. Say 5 years from now, where is it that your larger or rather largest revenue will come in from, and how do you see these two regions actually panning out?
So we completely want to maximize the opportunity in India. But I just want to clarify one thing. In India, generally people have looked at fintech as a distribution play or a lending distribution play. We don't see ourselves in that area. We are saying whatever it takes to build out the tech infrastructure for merchants, consumers, brands, also government institutions, we will do it. We will not get into lending or distribution of financial services products. Southeast Asia and Africa, I think those markets are just emerging. We are scoring very good wins in UAE, in Philippines, in Singapore, in Malaysia. We think about 30% of our revenues will come out of global markets. What used to be a story about Indian technology companies about 20 years back was we were a talent base. We then became a SaaS and a software country. Today, I think there's an opportunity for Indian technology companies to invest into platforms, build out networks, and really try and make money on a processing infrastructure or at an infrastructure level. That's something which is of high interest to us.
Great. So, I mean, if I were to narrow it down to one geography, which would be your largest contributor outside the Indian shores?
Right now, it will be Southeast Asia. We invested into Malaysia almost about 6 years back. I would say it will be Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, and now UAE. We are present in about 22 countries around the world.
Interesting. The other thing I also wanted to talk about, how does now central banks' advancement pretty much across the globe into digital currencies play out with your scheme of things? How do you think that piece is going to pan out, and how is it that you can take something out of that pie?
So digital currencies solve for two things. One, it solves for faster money movement because every transaction is on the chain. Once a person transfers money to somebody else, the chain gets updated instantly, money moves very, very quickly. So it solves for speed. The second thing it solves for is programmability. So where is the money going? Where is the currency supposed to be? That entire piece can get programmed. When you look at a country like ours, UPI has solved for speed of money movement. However, programmability, we have still some work to do. And that's an area where, if you know, RBI has come up with their own CBDC program, which is really, solving for programmability. Around the world, stable coins are solving for both speed as well as, making money programmable. And that is being adopted. Now, the question here is, will there be a single currency stable coin like the US dollar or a euro-based or a renminbi-based? I think that's something that will evolve. India, on the other hand, have taken an approach which says that we will not try and move to a stable coin kind of an environment. But I think this is going to be a very interesting technology evolution which we want to chase. So in the next few weeks, months, we will have a Pine Labs issued card outside in global markets where the back currency will be in stable coins. It's got nothing to do with India. It will be in a foreign jurisdiction.
Which one?
So we're working on two countries right now where we will have two different jurisdictions, both in Southeast Asia, where this currency-based prepaid card will get issued. So you can use the card at a Starbucks. As far as the merchant is concerned, they will see a Visa Master transaction. The back-end account which is getting debited will have stable coins in it.
The other thing, Amrish, is also, when one thinks about AI and how it's sort of bringing cost of developing software itself, as it has at Pine Labs as well, what happens to competitive moats of fintech globally?
So today, what has happened is coding itself has gone through a sea change.
Yeah.
So, folks see everything as just front end and back end. When I did my engineering and as I was growing up, it wasn't front end and back end. We still had to figure out what's happening on databases. We had to talk about connectors, extraction of data, and so on and so forth. Today, coders don't need to worry about that. There's just front end and back end. What that has brought about is brought about velocity in new product development and technology development. What that does is it means that time to market has reduced significantly. But hey, that's what keeps us excited too. What we had imagined as something which will come out in the next 3 years, there's a potential to release that in the next 6 months' time. And that's happening in the fintech sector, but it's also happening in other segments, and other businesses.
So from your private market years to now you're listed, Avtar, what's the biggest misconception you would say that long-term investors have about what a payments and merchant commerce business is actually worth? Because you must have gone through the entire roller coaster.
Yeah, I think the biggest misconception that people have is people look at fintech as a finance business. What I mean by that is everybody looks at fintech in India as a financial services distribution lending play. They don't see this as a technology play. And hence, most of the folks come in with a mindset which is distribution is the moat, or they come in as cost of capital is the moat. No, technology is the moat. And in a way, I guess people need to understand that great technologies can create moats and will allow you to win for a long period of time. It's not out of sheer luck that we've been able to grow more than 25% for the last 7 years at a compounding number level is because we do believe we have moats because of the technology that we have built.
So you'll always be a tech company? Consumer tech, is that how one can define you?
I would say tech first, and anything which touches the consumer or merchant, we will solve for that. I'm still not convinced that a technologist has the best shot at lending because it's a very complex business in the lending space.
Indeed. So 10 years out, what is the one structural shift that you see in technology linked to commerce and consumer?
I guess what is going to happen is, for the longest time, the seller pretty much controlled what the seller wanted to, position, price it, and show it to the consumer. Obviously, consumer had the choice. One of the big things which is happening is you and I as consumers today have all choices in our hands. So we can make purchases without ever leaving our homes, and we could pretty much run our every day without ever leaving the sofa. Now that is bringing about sea change when it comes to payment systems and how payment systems should evolve, not just being ready for businesses, but really making it consumer first. I think that evolution has started. It started about 5 years. Over the next 5 to 7 years' time, that is going to accelerate. And then everything related to agentic and programmability, I think that's going to be a very big change over the next 5 to 7 years.
So if I were to play the devil's advocate, and we're talking about a world where AI is going to take everything over and perhaps humans would just be needed to maintain the whole thing and maybe eventually not also, right? What could make Pine Labs irrelevant 10 years from now?
Let me tell you what I think will keep us relevant, right? If you are the system of record, if you're the one who's recording the transaction every day, AI is not replacing the environment which holds the transaction and records the transaction. As long as you are thinking of yourself as full stack and not just a wrapper around an existing service, I think you will do okay. And that's what we are really focused on, which we are saying that if a consumer has money in the bank account, we should build the infrastructure for holding of the money, recording of the money in, money out. Similarly, when it comes to receiving of the money, how can we build the best technology platform so that all offers can be given out, transactions can run faster, make it smoother at the checkout. If you're the system of record, I think you're fine.
Okay, good luck with that. Beyond the numbers, I guess that's what the face of not just fintech, but tech related to consumer is going to look like. Thank you so much for your time today. Good speaking.
This was a good conversation. Thank you very much.